Hello everyone, this is Dana here with Love Soul of Flowers, and we posted some poppies earlier today and a bunch of people were asking if I can do a tutorial, so here I am. Let's see, if you come on, please say hi so I make sure my comments are working, because right now it doesn't look like I have comments. So yeah, so we're gonna do poppies. It's a little different style than the last one that we did. Okay, now I'm seeing things. Okay, I see people now. Hi everyone. A little impromptu with the timing here, but it works now. So I have done another video on poppies, and they were using 3 different styles of flowers, and it's in the video tab on our business page here. I Love Soul of Flowers. And those were like a solid kind of bright orange color with the black centers. And again, I used 3 different flowers to show you how to make those. Hi, Nancy. But I posted a different style of poppies today in our group and on the business page, and I got a bunch of messages asking if I could do a tutorial on this style. Hi, Bobby. So we are going to do that. Hi, Sharon. I'm going to give you the color I'm using, and we're going to go through it all. You are going to want to get the Posh flower, P-O-S-H flower, on lovesouloflower.com, because that's the one I'm using today. And if you haven't seen the post to know what I'm making, you're going to want to go check out our business page. If you're not a part of our community yet, go to facebook.com/groups/lovesouloflowers, and we all post stuff there as well. So we are making, it's going to be a red poppy, and the center is black, but there's like a white gap in between. So it needs to be hand painted. And so I'm going to show you how to do that, because I had a lot of people wondering how to make them like that. They're so pretty, but they're so realistic. So if you're the kind of bride or, you know, business owner who wants them to look really, really, really realistic, touches like this where there's a gap of white or some hand painting skills will make things look more realistic, obviously. So again, the flower I'm using is called Posh, and you get that on lovesouloflowers.com. You can just do the search bar and do Posh, P-O-S-H, and you will find those flowers. This is what it looks like when it comes to you. These little guys are kind of long here on the inside. I'm using a red called No More Drama. It's by Bear Brand Indoor House Paint from the Home Depot, No More Drama. And then I just have a black for the center. Okay, so this is how I did those poppies that I posted earlier. So the very first thing I want to do is trim down these little guys in the center, because a poppy doesn't have them so long, but a poppy does have them, so you don't want to cut them off. Let me see if I can do this nice and close and so you can see. And so I'm just taking my scissor and literally just chopping it down. Again, I don't want to get rid of them. Okay, I'm not getting rid of them because a poppy does have those little centers, but I want to cut them down. Probably using a sharper scissor makes life easier, but here we are. Okay. So did anyone not see the poppies we posted earlier? If so, it's going to be a little surprise at what we're doing here. But again, we do have a video on like the standard poppies with just the one color and the black centers, which obviously they look like that too. But again, if you're wanting something to look really realistic, when you add a touch where it's not just a solid color, if you do some blending or hand painting techniques, then you do get a more realistic look. A little fancier there, you know. So I'm trimming down my little guys here. You didn't see them yet? Okay, yeah, gotta go look to see them. I put them next to a real one. So if you can see, I'm gonna hold that there. See how I trimmed down these little guys? There is a word for them. Sultan tells me it all the time, and I constantly forget what it's called. But I did trim those little suckers down. Okay, so I'm just gonna hand paint. I've got my brush. It's not too stiff because I don't want it to be pokey. I do want it to kind of bleed while I paint. And I'm going to start on my back petals. And I will kind of pull it back. Obviously, I don't want to be too rough with it. I don't want to just yank it back. But I want to start on the back, and I'm going to do the front. No, it's actually got like a Sola has a word. Like the Sola people who make them, the vendors have a word for that middle piece. In a real flower, yes, that's what it's called, I think. But okay. So as you can see, I'm just hand painting it. I mixed today. Thanks, Martha. That's because I finally feel good enough to like put some makeup on. I mixed the paint just like I would if I dipped it, just so you all know too. It's not thicker or not thinner either. So it's just how I would mix it if I were gonna dip it, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do one petal at a time. It doesn't take too long because the petal absorbs it, so it kind of goes fast. You want to make sure it's liquidy enough to let it do that. So I'm doing first the front of the petal. And again, I'm just going to take it back. Now, I'm not going all the way down to the center because, again, if you haven't seen the poppy I posted, the center actually has like a white gap between the black and the red, okay? So I'm wanting to keep that white there. Okay, so I just kind of let my paintbrush push back the petal, and it gets easier once they're wet. The petal kind of pushes back easier. It doesn't matter, obviously, I'm going to paint the whole thing red, so it doesn't matter if you hit other petals, which I love hand painting where like you can't make a mistake. So, so we like those kind of projects where if you're messy and you're not very delicate, I'm not a very delicate person, so these kind of projects are good for me. So I'm just going to, again, start in the back row and paint the front of my petals. Okay, now I'm gonna get towards my front row here, and I'm not gonna go all the way down. Okay, I'm just gonna leave a little gap. I have a couple more of these back petals that are covered, and then I will show you how we do the centers, the backs, and then the center. So, but yeah, if you haven't looked at the ones I posted, again, you don't have to like hand paint every single flower of a bouquet in order for it to look real. You can just do a few flowers, make them extra special. I do it with my hydrangea too. I'll hand paint the hydrangea, but the rest of the flowers I'll just dip, and it just makes it still look more realistic. If you're just joining us, the red color I'm using is called No More Drama. It is by Bear Brand from the Home Depot. Okay, so here we are now. We're gonna do our front row. This is where you need to be a little more careful because, again, if you looked at the picture, it's got a black center, then it's got like a white spot, and then the red petals. So this is where we don't want it to drip into the center. I'm a little nervous doing this on camera. I did all mine without messing up, but I'm a little nervous doing it. It's gonna mess up. So here I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take my brush. We start in the center where we want the line to be. Now, in a real poppy, it's not like a straight line, so you don't want to just go across and paint up. So we want to just take our brush and we pull up. Let me see if I can do this closer. Okay, so we take our brush and pull up towards the back. And we're not gonna make an exact line, okay? And again, if you just mix this paint like you would when you dip, it'll be watery enough to absorb easily. Such a quick, easy hand painting thing. This is like, they look so realistic, they look expensive, and yet they're like the easiest thing to do. Okay, so I'm gonna hold it up for a second in here. Okay, do you see how it's kind of like ridgy? Okay, it's not a straight line because you don't want it to be a straight line. That white thing, you don't want it to be straight. So I'm just taking my brush, I start at the center part and I pull back to the edge of the petal. And I want that space to not be a completely straight line. I want it to be a little bit, you know, some go down a little bit more than the others. Okay, so I'm going to do each of these petals. Again, takes 5 seconds to do these, and well, not literally 5 seconds, I guess, but takes very fast to do it, but it really makes your pieces look more expensive because those little details, your eye just goes to them naturally. So you can dip a bunch of flowers and maybe them not just be, you know, shaded or anything like that, go crazy doing that kind of stuff on every flower. But if you do 1 or 2 flowers like this, it'll look so realistic just doing 1 or 2 flowers. Especially if you're making a whole lot of stuff. It's hard to hand paint every flower if you're busy. So again, I'm not going all the, even in these back petals, I don't go all the way down because I don't want it to like bleed through. So these back petals, I leave that same white gap as I am the center, okay? I'm gonna finish this last one and then I will show you. You wanna make sure you're tilting your flower so that if your paint wants to bleed, it'll bleed out, not bleed into the center, okay? Because we want that white little spot before we get to the center, so we don't want our paint to bleed like forward into it. So that's why I'm holding my flower to the side. So let me just show you what I mean by the whites. So see how it's not a line? It's not like a circle where the white is. It's kind of like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like raggedy. Is that the word I'm looking for? I don't know. It's like raggedy. So now we have to go back and do the back of our petals because we want them to, first of all, you always want to do the back of your flowers anyway, but also you'll see through too much white through in the light. I know, but when you add the black, it looks so good, Bobby. Okay, so now I'm gonna start in the back, and the back is so easy and fast because I'm just going to literally cover the backs of the petals. Now, make sure you take your time on one thing. Make sure you get all the backs of all the petals. Okay, so you're gonna have to lift that back row up to get to those underneath ones, okay? So I just do it with my brush. Again, because the paint is watered down and it does have the glycerin in it, it's just super easy to coat that because it absorbs like a sponge. And I'm just spinning it. Now the little nubby that I'm holding it with, again, because I want it facing down now so that it doesn't drip down my arm. And I sometimes go back after my flower is dry and I paint like the little nub. If you want to put it on like a wire or a stick when you're done painting the petals, and then you can just do that little nub, but I'm holding it with the nub for now. So, but I do go back because I don't want, you know, a white nub showing through in my bouquets or arrangements or anything like that. So again, this is called No More Drama. Did you water it down? No, it is watered down. It's just like I would if I were dipping it. Okay, so if you, last week we did that dyeing video that showed you how to use the glycerin. I said no fuss dyeing is what it was called. I made the mixture just like that. So I want to make sure I'm getting all the backs of the petals. Of course, this is the only thing that kind of takes just, you know, an extra second here, trying to get the backs done. But again, because it's watered down, it absorbs like a sponge, and it usually goes pretty fast. I only got a few more petals. And then I'll show you the front again if you're just joining us. I did post these poppies earlier. People were asking if I could show you guys how I did them. And they have like a white gap between the black and the color. So they're a little different than the poppies I did last time, where we dipped a solid color and did a black center. And again, just the little detail of the white separating between the red and the black makes a big difference when it comes to looking realistic. Because little details like that in projects like this make it really stand out. I did a bouquet for Valentine's with these in it. I only needed 3 of them, and your eye immediately goes to these. I mean, I did so many flowers. I think there was like 40 something flowers with reds and pinks in the bouquet. And basically when you look at the bouquet, like all your eye goes to is these poppies. But that's what's nice about these little details, is that it doesn't take, you know, 42 poppies to stand out. It just took 3. I did 2 on one side, 1 on the other side, and it's just naturally where your eye goes to. So you don't have to spend a million hours doing dyeing, but you don't have to give up design and little special perks to your flowers there. So, all right, so I'm almost done. I have like 2 more petals, and then we'll do the center, and we'll just review what we did. Again, the color I'm using is called No More Drama by Bear Brand Paint from the Home Depot. I've watered it down with glycerin like I do, I showed you in my last video. So it's the same watered down paint as I would as if I were dipping it. So it's not waterier or thicker. Okay, so do you see how I have, and now the whole back is covered too. Anywhere I look, there's no more white, okay? And do you see how that white is kind of frayed? Inside was a little taller. Okay. Now I'm gonna do my black. Now again, if you're just joining now, this is the Posh flower. You can find it at lovesoloflowers.com. You can just do the search bar and you click Posh. And what I've done is I've clipped down those little stameny things that are in the middle of the flower. So this is just black. This is actually acrylic paint, just because I don't usually need black paint in the big latex thing. So I'm just dumping a little bit of it out. It's just for the center, so it's no big deal. This is not watered down, okay? You do not want your black to bleed at all, so do not add water to the black part. So I'm putting my brush in it, and I'm going, that little cinnamon bun in the center, I'm going to first paint that, and I'm gonna really try to tap it in. And it's okay if you get it on the little things, because it's gonna end up there in a minute, but I like to just start with the little cinnamon bun so I get in those little creases first. And then I'll show you how we go up the sides, okay? And of course you can do this in any of the colors. Poppies come in that beautiful like coral fire orange color. It's my favorite color of poppy. But I did these for Valentine's Day. And you know, thanks, Luann. So like for Valentine's Day too, if you guys are a business doing Valentine's Day things, put 2 or 1 of these in one of your things, and it stands out way more than just dipping flowers. Like all you need is like 1 or 2 flowers, and your whole piece looks like it should cost more money. And it should cost more money because you're hand painting. So now I'm gonna go up. I'm not gonna go all the way to the tip, and I'm not gonna do all the way in behind because I want that white line. I'm just kind of taking my brush and patting it against the first layer of those little spiky pieces. Okay, I'm just tapping it. Okay, just the first layer. I don't want it to go to the whole back layer. I don't need a ton of black. And there we go. Okay, so you've got the red. Let me just put my brush down so I can hold it better here. So we've got, our first step was, first of all, your first step is buying Posh. And that's on lovesoloflowers.com. Again, you can just do a search in the search bar and put P-O-S-H, Posh, and it'll bring you up to the flowers. And then we took our scissors. Again, it's kind of easier if you have pointier scissors, but you take your scissors and you trim down those little centers, those little things, because they're pretty long when they come, so I trim them down. Then we did the front of our flower with our red. Again, I used No More Drama Bear Brand from the Home Depot. I did the outer level first, and then the inside, I don't just go straight across. I just take my brush, I start in the center, and I pull it out to the outside of the petal. And again, I want to hold it like this while I'm painting so that it never drips into the center. It drips out to the outer part of the thing. So then I'd have my white there. I do the backs of my petals next. I do my black centers. And then again, this little white nub that I use to hold it, you could stick it on like a bamboo stick and paint it. Or when everything is dry, I just go real fast just because I don't like, in case it's in a bouquet and you can kind of see the bottom, I wouldn't, want the white to show. Okay, so this is style number 2. So if you want a poppy that's super duper easy and you just dip it and paint the center, we do have a video in the video tab on the business page here at Love Solo Flowers. And I made an orange one. I think I gave the colors for that too, using 3 different kinds of flowers. And that's in a video, but this is style number 2 where you have the white between the color and the center. And again, you can really step up your Valentine's arrangements and other styles of arrangements and bouquets with just 1 or 2 specialty flowers like this. You don't need to go crazy and have an entire bouquet of it. It really, really brings a realistic and expensive look to your pieces. Okay, so everybody go get your Poshs. Hopefully we don't sell out in one night because I just told everyone to buy Posh. But if you love poppies and anemones, Posh is my favorite to use. If you want a little bit of a cheaper style, the lotus can be done like that too, but it doesn't have the little spikies on the inside like this one does. Okay, all right, that's it. I can't wait to see your poppies and all the different colors you guys use. Make sure you post them in our community group. That is facebook.com/groups/lovesoloflowers. And we look forward to seeing you guys do your own. Okay, guys, have a good night.